Hey, beautiful ones. Okay, I'm just coming off a call with a friend, and um, I feel super inspired to do actually a video on this because I feel it's really relevant. And it's got something to do with relationships and with bonding and with how every way we relate with a person is always different. Like every way we connect and we bond is very different and very unique. And it has to do with how some relationships are meant to be, staying with us for longer periods of time, and others just have a use by date. And I know this sounds really weird and may sound a little bit materialistic and a little bit superficial, but it's actually quite the opposite. And what I've come to realize over, my past experiences is that there is a very high conditioning that I've experienced myself, and I don't know whether that resonates with you, but when we have a small way of attaching, like, or connecting to a person, we actually build this emotional and mental attachment, as in, okay, we've had this really beautiful time with this person, so now we necessarily have to move on to the next stage, and we necessarily have to, like, let this go deeper and explore this connection and this bonding further. And there's a little bit of a trap here because I feel that often this is not really being genuine and being truthful and authentic and completely vulnerable and raw when we do this. And obviously, it's all a social conditioning because, like, let's say you've had an amazing experience with a person and you've decided that you're actually going to connect on a sensual and a sexual level as well. There is this thing internally, and I mean, I'm speaking for myself, but I'm sure that some of you can relate as well. There is this interaction of how we feel like we should build further connection, as in, yeah, we have to now, be in a relationship or in a deeper lovers bond. And truly, what I've come to realize is some connections, yes, this is what they develop into naturally, and that's where it flows. And some connections can actually be very, very different, as in, you might have this mind blowing experience with this person. You might have the most beautiful sexual connection and truly, truly heartfelt connection as well. So there will be an emotional connection too. And then a few days or a few weeks down the line, things change and you don't feel so connected anymore. You don't feel like you should, or and then there's all this guilt trip that can come with this because we feel like, oh my gosh, but like our mind is not processing this, like our bodies are processing and they are giving us the clear signals that actually we don't want to keep bonding with this person, but our mind is still trying to find a justification for it because in our mind, usually everything sort of goes in a chronological way, and after this comes that, and after that necessarily comes that. So there's like all these belief systems, all these chains of beliefs and expectations that our mind wants to do because it needs to rationalize everything, it needs to understand everything. Um, but that sometimes is in opposition to what our body and what our actual intuition is speaking about. And what I wanted to say, in connection to this, is that we have ways of connecting with some people and with relating to some people, and actually that bonding, once it has been accomplished, actually has a use by date, as in we have taken the energetic upgrade, and it's almost like, yeah, there is an energy exchange here, right? And you don't necessarily have to go into the depth of the sexual connection, but it could just be an emotional upgrade that you've experienced. And so after this upgrade has been done, you are naturally gravitating away from this person, because actually you're not to receive this person as a full partner and lover, and like, that was why this person came into your life. This person came into your life for you to understand a new part about yourself and reveal something that you didn't know before meeting this person. And it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that, you can't connect emotionally. It doesn't even mean that you're a terrible lover at all. It's actually quite the opposite. Is your job is to stay connected and to stay fully present in your body, so that you can tell whatever you are feeling in the present moment, and you can be truthful to that. Because here's the deal, right? You are building your own boundaries as you are connecting with other people. And so one day it's very welcoming to have this person in your life, and you might truly feel connected, like genuinely connected, like emotionally, mentally, physically, everything just seems to click. And you have the right to stay connected afterwards too. So when your body is then going, actually, I don't feel like connecting with this person sexually anymore. I feel like connecting with this person on an emotional level instead. Or only on a mental level, like we are exchanging conversations, but we're not, necessarily diving deeper into this. And what's really, really important here is for you to really remain grounded in your truth, okay? Because that is how you're really experiencing the full extension of self-love, right? The full extension of self-love is being able to see your truth at all times and honoring your truth, honoring where you are. And by honoring where you are, by expressing your feelings, your thoughts, your actions, you are expressing yourself in your full splendor. And so this is an invitation for the other person to stay on the same ground as well, to remain authentic and vulnerable as well. So, sometimes when we get into these situations, we feel like, wow, now I had this most amazing sensual connection with this person, and I feel bad of withdrawing that again. And your body is actually saying that you don't want to, but your mind is going, oh, I shouldn't really be doing this, because if I have already opened up, then I should keep expanding on this. And what I've come to realize is that the times when I did that, I was actually not honoring my voice, and this was actually giving a subliminal message to my body and my feelings and my intuition that I am not worthy of being heard and being seen and being understood fully. So, rather than listening to what my body was actually saying, and rather than listening to what my intuition was saying about this connection in that present moment, and this can be really, really subtle. Like, it's sometimes you only realize a few days later that you've actually crossed one of your boundaries, or that you didn't respect one of your boundaries. But all those times when I've done this, there was a feeling of disconnection and almost like resentment and frustration that started to build up. And this has nothing to do with the other person. This is all, like an internal journey. And I don't want to dive super deep into this, because I feel like this is already making sense to you right now, right? And yeah, that's our job. Our job is to stay connected with the present moment at all times. It doesn't matter whether you've been with this person for an hour or 2 hours or 3 days or weeks or months or even years, right? Because every time you're overcrossing these boundaries, when you feel like the connection doesn't feel right, but you're still, you know, going to meet this person, um, every time you do that, there is something that happens in your energetic, emotional, and in your mental level that disconnects you from you. So this connection that you're feeling with the partner is actually a reflection of the disconnection you are building in yourself. As in, you have this, you start creating this double personality. There's this one aspect in you that keeps connecting with this partner who's, you know, like pretending everything is great, and then there's the other part going, oh, but I don't really want to, and that's the disconnection you feel, right? So I invite you to stay really present in the ways you bond. And sometimes this can be really hard because, you know, naturally we want to be loved, and sometimes being or seeking love, we seek to please the other person, or we seek to find ways not to hurt the other person. But here's the truth, though, and this is like the terrible truth, and it's a little bit dramatic as well, but it is really, really beautiful as well at the same time. So you have those two aspects. The dramatic side is that you cannot sustain this double personality for very long and remain healthy and remain in a peaceful state. It's just impossible, because you're now having to feed these two mental aspects, these two emotional aspects, and they will start to fight with each other internally. So you'll have this struggle, this internal struggle going on. And this internal struggle is definitely going to come to surface as you keep bonding with this other, you know, this other human being. And I'll tell you what, you deserve to speak your truth, but the other person also deserves to know the truth. They deserve to know where you are standing in your bond. And they deserve you to be standing in your power, because they deserve to be placed in a position of power as well. So, you know, they deserve to be given their power. By you speaking your truth, you invite this person to stand in their power again. Because imagine, you know, you're just like, you keep seeing this person, you feel, you know, you've had a beautiful connection, and now you don't actually really want to have a sexual interaction anymore with them. You just want an emotional or a mental connection. If you still engage in sexual activities with this person, it's almost like you are betraying yourself, and that's going to come back. It's going to come back to you. It's going to come to surface. It will, you know, it will manifest itself. You know, either you know, your sex life will start to feel a bit strange, or, you know, you might start having arguments, you know, that seem like you're having arguments out of the blue. You might just feel differently. You might feel heavy around this person. I mean, you know, the list goes on. It's just an endless list. But yeah, so I really invite you to stay present. It does, you know, it doesn't mean you have to react to every single thing you're saying and single thing you're thinking. But I think generally overall you want to keep that balance just for yourself as well, just to keep your inner peace and to keep your inner connection. You know, we're not trying to be something that we're not. We're just, I think it's so beautiful when you can stand in your power, speak your truth, and it can be in a very loving way. You can say things like, look, honey, I actually feel like today I don't want to engage in anything physical. I just want to explore and dive deeper into this emotional connection that we have today. Or I just want to have a conversation with you, just very open-minded. Anyway, I'm sure you can find lots of creative ways to bond. Yeah. And then this is where true intimacy also builds up. So you start to build this trust, And the trust comes from you, really. You are trusting yourself that you can speak the truth and you are allowed to be you and you are allowed to be the person with all these emotions and these feelings, and you don't need to feel like it's awkward to speak up. And by building this trust, this this bonding and this connection within, you are then feeding trust between you and your partner. And guess what happens? Intimacy happens, right? Because your partner will start to get used to you speaking your truth at all times. And this creates a huge amount of safety and a huge amount of connection and a huge amount of love, right? And it's not necessarily the romantic love, it's just love on a pure level. Right? You are embodying this fully, not halfway, not half-heartedly. And truly, you deserve to stand in that space. You deserve to stand in that space where you feel comfortable to speak your truth. You feel at ease. You feel in the flow. And when you're in the flow, things can unfold. Things can reveal themselves to you. Right? The worry, the fear, the anxiety, the frustration, all of that just flakes away because you're just standing in your truth. Right. With this, my lovely beauties, I will leave you again because I need to get some sleep. But I just really wanted to put this into a message because I feel like it's very relevant and it's very, it's an important topic. Very important. Okay, sending you a lot of love.